Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. The sky above Willow Creek was a perfect shade of blue, the kind that made you forget all your worries. Nestled deep in the heart of nowhere, this small American town was a place where nothing much ever happened, and that was just the way the residents liked it. The biggest excitement around here was the annual pie-eating contest or the occasional barn dance down at Miller's farm. But today, something different was about to happen, something so out of the ordinary that it would be talked about for years to come, though not quite in the way anyone expected. It all started with a slight shimmer in the sky, a ripple of light that seemed to flicker in and out of existence. Most of the townspeople were too busy going about their daily routines to notice. Old Mrs. Henderson was watering her garden. Mr. Jenkins, the town's mayor, was in his office sorting through paperwork, and the kids were playing a noisy game of tag in the park. But then, the shimmer grew brighter, catching the attention of a few passers-by. They squinted up at the sky, shading their eyes with their hands, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. The ripple expanded, and with a sudden burst of light, a large, metallic object appeared in the sky, descending rapidly toward the town square. The object, which looked like a cross between a giant silver teapot and an oversized toaster, settled down with a soft thud in the middle of Main Street, right in front of the diner. The residents of Willow Creek were, by nature, a calm and curious bunch. So instead of running away in fear, they gathered around the strange object, whispering to each other and speculating about what it could be. Some thought it was a new type of delivery drone, others a prop for a movie or TV show. No one even considered the possibility that it might be something extraterrestrial. Inside the craft, Commander Zorg and his crew of 3, Lieutenant Glarg, Specialist Flum, and Technician Blip, were busy preparing for what they believed would be the most important mission of their lives, the invasion of Earth. They had traveled millions of light-years from their home planet of Zoglan, a place where conquest and domination were a way of life. The Zoglonians had successfully invaded dozens of planets before, but Earth was considered a particularly prized target due to its abundant resources and strategic location in the galaxy. Zorg, a tall, green-skinned alien with a shiny dome-like head and large, bulbous eyes, stood before his crew, radiating confidence. He had rehearsed this moment countless times, and he was determined to make it perfect. Prepare for planetary domination, Zorg declared, his voice booming through the craft's communication system. The crew responded with a synchronized salute, their tentacle-like arms curling in the traditional Zoglonian gesture of respect. However, there was a slight problem that Zorg had not anticipated. Their advanced navigation system, which was supposed to land them in the heart of Earth's most powerful city, had malfunctioned, dropping them in the middle of a small, rural town instead. None of the Zoglonians were aware of the mistake. They assumed the quiet surroundings were part of Earth's defenses, designed to lull invaders into a false sense of security. But the real challenge lay ahead, and Zorg was ready. He activated the ship's loudspeaker system and, after a brief moment of crackling static, began his speech. "Attention, humans of Earth. We are the mighty Zoglonians, and we have come to claim your planet in the name of the Zoglan Empire. Surrender now, and your lives will be spared." His words, though intended to be intimidating, were mangled by the universal translator, a device that was supposed to convert his speech into the local language. Instead of the commanding tone he aimed for, the translation came out as a series of strange, garbled noises, mixed with random Earth slang and outdated catchphrases. "Yo, listen up, Earth dudes. We're, totally here to vibe with your crib, you dig? So, just chill and hand over the keys, and we're cool, alright?" The townspeople burst out laughing. Some even clapped, thinking it was all part of the show. They had no idea that they were in the presence of actual aliens, to them, this was just another wacky prank or a reality TV stunt. Zorg was taken aback. He had never encountered such a reaction during an invasion. Usually, his speeches inspired fear and obedience. Confused, he turned to Lieutenant Glarg, who was monitoring the humans' responses. "Why are they not afraid?" Zorg asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. Glarg, who had spent years studying Earth's communications and culture, albeit through a very outdated database, scratched his head with one of his many appendages. "It appears, Commander, that Earthlings are welcoming us. They seem to be enjoying our presence." Zorg furrowed his brow. This was not how invasions were supposed to go. But he was nothing if not adaptable. "If they want a show, we'll give them a show. Prepare the invasion performance." Outside the craft, the crowd watched in anticipation as the doors of the strange vehicle slowly opened. A ramp extended, and out marched Zorg and his crew, each one dressed in elaborate, shimmering armor that glowed in the sunlight. They moved with exaggerated, dramatic motions, which only added to the townspeople's amusement. "Wow, look at those costumes," a teenager in the crowd exclaimed. "This is gonna be epic." Zorg raised a glowing staff, which was supposed to channel a powerful energy beam capable of immobilizing entire armies. However, due to a calibration error, the staff merely caused the streetlights to flicker on and off, much to the delight of the onlookers. "Did you see that?" one of the children yelled. "It's like magic." The aliens, mistaking the cheering for fear, doubled down on their efforts. Specialist Flum activated a device that was meant to create a terrifying illusion of their ship surrounded by storm clouds and lightning. But instead, it produced a series of holographic fireworks that burst in bright colors over the town square. The crowd went wild with applause. People pulled out their phones to capture the show, posting pictures and videos with captions like, "Best reality show ever," and "You've got to see this." The mayor, Mr. Jenkins, stepped forward, grinning from ear to ear. He believed this was a promotional event, possibly tied to a new sci-fi film. "Bravo! Bravo! What a fantastic display," he shouted, clapping enthusiastically. "Welcome to Willow Creek, and thank you for choosing our town for your production." Zorg, interpreting the applause as a sign of submission, puffed out his chest. "Earthlings, you have wisely chosen to accept our rule. Your cooperation will be rewarded." "Yeah. We're totally into it," a young woman in the crowd called out, holding up a sign that read, "Welcome, alien overlords." The aliens, still oblivious to the fact that their invasion was being taken as entertainment, continued with their performance. Technician Blip, a small, round creature with a knack for technology, deployed a device that caused small objects to levitate. The effect was meant to instill awe and fear, but it only led to more cheers as townspeople watched their keys, phones, and loose change float in the air before gently returning to the ground. Feeling that their invasion was progressing well, Zorg decided it was time to assert their dominance. He ordered Lieutenant Glarg to activate their most powerful device, one that would change the color of the sky, a clear sign of their control over the planet. As Glarg prepared the device, a dark cloud began to roll in from the horizon, part of a natural storm system that the aliens were unaware of. The sky turned an ominous shade of greenish-yellow, perfectly timed with the activation of the alien technology. The townspeople gasped, not in fear, but in amazement at what they assumed was an incredible special effect. "This is incredible," someone shouted. "I've never seen anything like it." The aliens, once again misinterpreting the reaction, assumed that the humans were finally starting to recognize their power. Zorg smiled, satisfied with the day's work. "Earth is ours," he declared triumphantly, his voice echoing through the loudspeakers. Just then, the town's resident conspiracy theorist, Ed Thompson, pushed his way through the crowd. Ed was known for his wild ideas, always talking about government cover-ups, secret alien bases, and Bigfoot sightings. Today, however, he was convinced that something genuinely out of the ordinary was happening. People, wake up! Can't you see what's really going on here? Ed shouted, his eyes wide with a mix of excitement and paranoia. These aren't actors or special effects. These are real aliens, and they're here to take over the planet. But no one took Ed seriously. The townsfolk, used to his outlandish claims, just laughed and patted him on the back. Nice one, Ed. You almost had me there, said Mr. Jenkins with a chuckle. But we all know this is just for fun. Ed's protests were drowned out by the continuing cheers and applause. Frustrated, he stood on a nearby bench, waving his arms to get attention. Listen to me. We need to. But before he could finish, the storm that had been brewing finally broke. A bolt of lightning struck a tree at the edge of the square, sending sparks flying. The crowd gasped, momentarily stunned, but quickly resumed their excitement when they realized no one was hurt. They thought the lightning was all part of the act. The aliens, however, took this as a sign that their invasion was complete. They had faced no real resistance, and the Earthlings were clearly in awe of their power. It was time to return to Zoglin and report their success. Zorg, still holding his glowing staff, addressed the crowd one final time. Earthlings, your planet now belongs to the Zoglin Empire. We shall return to bring you into our fold. Until then, farewell. The translation, of course, turned his message into something entirely different. Peace out, Earth dudes. We'll catch you later, cool cats. The crowd erupted in cheers, waving goodbye as the aliens marched back up the ramp and into their ship. The doors closed with a satisfying hiss, and the craft began to lift off, disappearing into the sky with a flash of light. As the ship vanished from view, the storm clouds began to dissipate, and the sun broke through once more. The townspeople started to disperse, chatting excitedly about what they had just witnessed. Many of them planned to write about it on their social media pages, convinced they had been part of a groundbreaking new reality show or viral marketing campaign. Ed stood alone in the square, still staring at the spot where the ship had been. I can't believe they didn't listen, he muttered to himself. This was the real deal, and they just laughed it off. But even as he spoke, he knew it was no use. In a town where nothing ever really happened, the idea of a real alien invasion was just too far-fetched to be believed. So with a sigh, Ed turned and walked back to his small house at the edge of town, already thinking about how he might prepare for the next invasion. Meanwhile, aboard the Zoglonian ship, Commander Zorg and his crew were celebrating their victory. They had successfully conquered Earth with minimal effort, and their mission was an undeniable success in their eyes. Excellent work, everyone. Zorg praised his crew. The Earthlings have submitted to our rule without a single shot fired. We shall return to Zoglin as heroes. Lieutenant Glarg, Specialist Flum, and Technician Blip all beamed with pride, though none of them truly understood why the humans had been so easy to conquer. But that didn't matter now. What mattered was that they had done it. As the ship sped through space, Zorg composed his report to the Zoglonian High Council, detailing the events of the day. In his mind, Earth was now a part of the Empire, and it would only be a matter of time before they returned to fully integrate the planet into their domain. Back on Earth, the residents of Willow Creek went about their lives, content in the knowledge that they had been part of something special, something they would talk about for years to come. The local diner even introduced a new menu item in honor of the event, the Zorg Burger, a towering creation with layers of unusual ingredients meant to mimic the alien visitors. And as for the aliens, they would continue to believe they had successfully invaded Earth, completely unaware that they had been nothing more than a passing curiosity in a small town that loved a good laugh. But the story didn't end there. For in the quiet reaches of space, the Zoglonian High Council reviewed Zorg's report and began to discuss plans for a follow-up mission. This time, they would bring a larger force, with more advanced technology, and they would aim for an even bigger invasion. Little did they know, the people of Willow Creek were already eagerly awaiting the sequel. As the sun set over the town, casting long shadows across the streets, the residents of Willow Creek settled in for the night, blissfully unaware of the adventure they had just narrowly missed. For them, it was just another day in a place where nothing much ever happened, except when it did.